Alright everyone, welcome back. So, I wanted to make a video today on the Tampa Bay Lightning because the Lightning this past week went 3-0 and they have climbed to number 2 on my weekly TikTok power rankings. For those who follow me on TikTok, for those who don't, that means nothing to you. But regardless, I thought it'd be cool to talk about the Lightning today. We haven't at all this season. So, just a nice little check-in here, and I thought we'd also ask the question, can they sustain another run? Well, there are certain issues they need to address, and there are certain things that will be brought up in the offseason. However, there isn't any reason why they shouldn't. The Lightning currently are 27, 18, and 5 for 59 points. They have a .590 point percentage, which I believe is actually 4th in the in the Atlantic Division. I got Metro on the brain. It is 4th in the Metropolitan Division. They have scored 175 goals, have let in 164, and they are currently 3rd in the Atlantic Division. I'm gonna end up losing it. But yeah, the Lightning again looking like how they usually do. There were points earlier on in the season, around November, I'd say, where we were like, could they actually miss the playoffs? That was a genuine possibility about a month ago. Now it's looking like they are going to be a lock for a playoff spot, but they aren't that dominant team that they were a few years back. And that's obvious. You look at the overall decline and the guys they've lost in the offseason, it's pretty obvious that, yeah, they aren't the team they used to be. However, still though, they have a very good roster, and they should be able to contend for a Stanley Cup again this year. There's no reason why they shouldn't. They have a number 1 ranked power play in the NHL. Their power play is the best with a 29.9%. They're actually 12th on the PK too, so they're pretty solid when it comes to the penalty kill as well, 81.1%, which obviously can be better, but that's still pretty good for a team that's really good on the power play. Typically, we see that when a team has a really good power play, they have a kind of a mad penalty kill. When they have a mad power play, they have a really good penalty kill. With the Lightning, it's both, and that's really good for this team overall. They're number 7 ranked in goals for per game with a 3.48. I believe they're tied with it, but they're number 7. But they're 23 with goals against per game. With a 3.28. And we'll get into Vasilevsky in a little bit, but obviously, with him being out for a little bit there in the season, Jonas Johansson had to come in and take over a little bit. So definitely that was a factor that played into why they're so low. I think they've gotten better since then, even though Vazzy's stats don't really say it. They've still gotten better in that remark. They're 17, 5, and 3 at home, and they're 10, 13, and 2 on the road. So the road has been a struggle for them this season. It absolutely has been when you just look at the overall numbers. It has. Definitely it's improved lately, but still, it's something they want to work on heading into this coming month. And obviously they're at the All-Star break. I'd say they're in a pretty good spot right now overall, and definitely they should build off of that. And again, we're going to go into the state of every team and in their divisions at the start of February when the All-Star break is officially on. So definitely we will get into that very, very soon. I want to look at the scores now. Leading scores, it's Nikita Kucherov leading the way with playing the usual way he does. 49 games played, 32 goals, 53 assists for 85 points. So halfway through the season, basically, a little bit over halfway, he has 85 points. So I expect Kucherov to definitely reach the 100-point mark unless he gets injured. Maybe even peak at maybe 130, 140 is what we maybe could even see out of Kucherov with the way he's playing right now. I think the Hart is going to be very interesting this year. It's probably not going to go to McDavid. It could go to either McKinnon or Kucherov this season. It's really looking like that right now. But yeah, Kucherov playing the usual way he does and just having, all in all, a really good season. Brayden Point, second in scoring, 50 games played, 25 goals, 29 assists for 54 points. Brayden Point obviously having another really good season too. I've talked in videos multiple times before about how Brayden Point is very valuable to this Lightning team. A guy that I've enjoyed on the Lightning for years, covering these 2 Stanley Cup runs like I have. Hedman, 48 games played, 9 goals, 41 assists for 50 points. Hedman, again, playing great like he does as a usual defenseman that he usually will play as. So Hedman, liking a lot there as well. Steven Stamkos, fourth in scoring, a lot to talk about here with him. 47 games played, 21 goals, 26 assists, 47 points. He is nearing the best Lightning player in history. He's about to become the leading point scorer. He's nearing that remark. So definitely once he reaches that, he will be regarded as the best player in Lightning history. Absolutely. But obviously he expires this season. There were talks at the beginning of the season that Stamkos was reportedly unhappy with the Lightning and just how contract negotiations were up to that point. And Brisebois said that no, we're not trading him. We're going to try and work something out, which is understandable. We expected that to come out of that. But definitely there is some question there of what Stamkos' contract is going to look like exactly, because obviously, he's in the remarks of Patrick Kane, Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin. So definitely he's going to get paid. It's just a matter of how much. And I don't think he's going to leave the Lightning. I feel like he will stay. I think the Lightning will do everything in their power to keep him. But crazier things have happened for sure. And then finally, Brandon Hagel, 50 games played, 16 goals, 27 assists, 43 points, is your fifth leading scorer out there for Tampa. So yeah, definitely the leading guys are doing well. There's no question there. There obviously is some concern for secondary scoring, which I'll get into in a little bit, but definitely the guys who are leading the way have been doing awesome. More specifically, Kucherov. But yeah, obviously they're down one of their best defensemen, Mikhail Sergachev. He's been on LTIR for the majority of this season. Hopefully he will come back soon. I have not heard a lot, though, on his return. So as of right now, we're just kind of in the dark with it, and we'll find out what happens there. But obviously, hopefully, he's there in time for the Stanley Cup playoffs, because you would want your number 2 defenseman on the roster, 100%. And then in net, it's Vasilevsky, who I've regarded in many years as the best goalie in the NHL. In my top 10 goalies or my top 20 or whatever I want to do this offseason, he won't be number 1 with the way he's playing, unless if he absolutely heats up in the second half of the season. But right now he's 16-10-0, a 2.85 goals against average, and a .899 save percentage. That has been the worst Vasilevsky numbers I have seen this season from him. But I'm putting an asterisk on that because A, he was hurt, and B, he just hasn't really been the same Vasilevsky since coming back from injury. It's just me being honest. He really hasn't been. It's not to say that he's a bad goalie, but he just hasn't been the same Vazzy we've seen in previous seasons before, if I'm being honest. But definitely, I think he'll turn around his stats in the second half of the year. I still think he's a very good goalie. There's no question there. Obviously, the trade deadline is coming up, and I will make a preview on the Lightning, as I've mentioned, starting in February, in a few days, in fact. So there are things that they do need. It's defense and secondary scoring. I looked at some of their secondary scores. They're going to need guys that can score better on that bottom 6. You got Tanner Jeannot, a guy you signed for a pretty long time, 12 points in 41 games played. You're going to want more out of him. Luke Glendening, 9 points in 50 games played. Again, low-cost players, not expecting a whole lot from them, but still, you want some more secondary scoring there. Connor Sheary, 9 points in 32 games played. And then Tyler Mott, 6 points in 40 games played. So, definitely, you want to see some more scoring out of your bottom 6. Because really, the top 6 right now is carrying this Lightning roster. Now, do I think they could win another cup with this current core? I think they can. I think it's very possible. With Kucherov and Point and the really good blue line. And of course, if Vasilevsky can become playoff Vasilevsky again, then 100% they could win a third Stanley Cup with this core. But just as of right now, it's just kind of in the dark. And definitely one of the things you want is a defense, especially if Sergachev is not going to come back. Look for a top defender out there. They've been eyeing Philadelphia's Sean Walker. I think I talked about that yesterday, in fact. But definitely, you want to look for defense and secondary scoring. But overall, the Lightning are in a solid state right now. I think that they absolutely, will be buyers of this year's trade deadline, but we'll obviously find out. But anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like, hit that subscribe button down below. I really appreciate it. I haven't made a lot of Lightning videos lately. They were a team that I've made a ton in the previous years before, but this year, not so much. But anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.